like those lights are flashing actually. But this is my working altar space. I have some dried mugwort, lavender and roses. These are my scrying mirrors, my antique black glass scrying mirrors. These are two of my besoms. They always stay right there guarding. And this is my altar. So down there you see a clear quartz sphere and my woolly witch here, Yule decor. I'm actually getting ready to make some oils and potions that I used to make for my boutique. I have my Yule log started here. I have to dry some oranges today. So the altar isn't completely done yet. And here I have my La Befana witch. This is La Befana, the Christmas witch in Italy. I'm half Italian, so Strega is part of my interest in the craft. But yeah, still working on it. Whenever I finish my altars, I usually post them after they've been like all consecrated and everything on Instagram, but it's not done yet. Like I said, I'm gonna put some oranges on there. Oh, thank you for the hugs. Hi, Max Joy. Bless be. Thank you for being here, sister. Miss Marjorie here. I want to make sure I'm not too close to my candles. I always want you guys to be able to see my altar, but it's like I have a hard time getting my camera in a good spot where you can see me and the altar and I can see your comments. Hi, Jillian. So I'm gonna go to a holiday market when I'm done today with my live. But for now, we're gonna do a live for the next 2 hours. At the end, we'll do my traditional circle casting. That hat looks warm. It is made of pure wool, so it is, what do they call it? Hand felted wool. So there's like no seams or anything, but it is warm. It's very grounding. The frequency is like, it's over 400. So it's really, really grounding. If you guys don't know, thank you. Yes, Max Joy. Hi, Marjorie. You're gonna have the Kaliak on your altar. Ooh, I love the Kaliak. She's powerful. Yeah, wool does have a really high frequency. It's very grounding, and I always wear my hat on my lives just because I need grounding in general. But if you guys have followed me for a while, you know that one of my sweet fur babies, I have 5 cats, and one of them passed away this week. So I've really been preparing myself to be able to come live today because I didn't want to miss this week, and kind of really truly like hit me in the heart, as with any of my animals, but we lost 2 of them this year, and it's super hard to say goodbye. And if you look back on some of the replays of the lives I've done over the past couple years, Roxy, I used to use a different chair that was lower, a bench, and she would sit on the chair with me, and she was 19. She did live a long life, but you know, it's never long enough with our fur babies. And yeah, I feel like I have cried so much this week that how could there be more tears? And yeah, I was crying again to my husband, and I'm like, I guess like every time I think like I'm okay, I got this, then a flood of tears comes out again. But our animals, they're such a beautiful part of our life, And I hope she's here with me, sitting here on the live like she used to do. She used to like to sit on the floor and soak up the sun while I was doing the live. Thank you, Jen. You lost yours a few months ago. I'm so sorry. It is so hard. But let's talk about something uplifting. We have the full moon coming up this week. I believe it's either on Wednesday or Thursday. Thank you guys for your condolences. Is the music too loud in the background? Good morning, Crunchy Witch. Hi, Tony. Thank you, Jen. Bless be. You think it's good? It's a little loud? Okay, maybe I'll turn it down a smidge. Is that better? Wednesday is the full moon. Yes, and it's a super moon, you guys. A super moon in Gemini. Oh my goodness. This is a big moon. This whole next month and a half, we're in this portal right now where we are being fully supported in the duality of release and manifestation. And so it's almost like the universe right now, if you can think of it like this, is everything you are willing to let go of, anything you are ready to release attachment to, there's actually on the other side of it something that's going to be, there's space that's going to be able to manifest for you. So if there's been this thing that you've been trying to manifest and it's like not coming to be, and you're wondering like, okay, am I moving against the universe? Which sometimes we can do that, right? Sometimes if our manifestations are not coming to be, it is purely because it is not for our highest and best good. Now, sometimes it's not just not for our highest and best good at all. It's just because we have not moved through something that we need to move through. So we as a human being are in the right level of consciousness to actually expand into. And so what this full super moon is offering us, it just fit, sorry, this full super moon is moving us into is that both sides of Gemini. And you know, most people see Gemini as the twins, right? Almost like it's a bad thing, like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type thing, but it's really not like that. The more ancient depiction of Gemini is both fully human and fully divine. And so if you can look at it more from that aspect and have that like both, like this is my human self and this is my divine self or my higher self. So you have your higher self, divine self perspective and your human self. And sometimes your higher self's like, we're here, like I want to go here. And then, but the human self has not released attachment of things that, you know, attachments to identities, to thought processes, to thoughts around relationships that are no longer for your highest good. There are many different things that will need to move for you to move into the highest level that you could be at this time. And that's really what this full super moon is doing for you. It's offering both. So, you know, a lot of times I focus on full moons around full, like it's always release for me, very rarely manifestation. This full moon is going to be a manifestation and release portal for me specifically. So I invite you to do the same thing. Like consciously really make yourself aware of why you're releasing what you're releasing and the space that it is actually taking up in your life by holding on to these belief systems that are so rigid. Even the amazing belief systems that you have, sometimes when you become so fixated on this one particular thing and it's this way and you're preaching to everybody, almost like the Christians continuously preaching the Bible, preaching the Bible, preaching the Bible. It's like spiritual people can get stuck on one concept. And especially right now in the US with the way politics are and stuff, like you can get fixated on your ideas. And even if, you know, they are what, you know, I would consider higher level consciousness ideas, sometimes you need to realize that you are blocking yourself by feeling like you need to preach it to everyone, right? You need to embody your beliefs and live your beliefs. And by doing that, it expands an open space for new higher level consciousness and abilities to come into your life. The same as a block like something like jealousy or self-criticism or something like that may hold you back. Sometimes even good belief systems, when we feel we need to like convince somebody else of it, we're actually holding ourselves back from expanding, if that makes sense. So really look across the board at what you are hanging on to, consciously releasing those belief systems and just being the sacred or divine witness of your entire life is really important right now. And the collective, like what the collective is going through, really being the witness of it. And if you're a witch that is drawn to my work, like if you're someone that is in my coven here, you know, the difference between me and other witches in my work, and I believe the people that are drawn to my work, is that there is a priestess that is within the witch archetype that is in you. And the life of a priestess is actually very different than just the life of a witch. The life of a priestess, her whole life is dedicated to serving the goddess. Now, the goddess within you and the goddess as your creatrix, your creator, your source. And that when you are in service to the goddess, like everything you do, even washing your dishes, your whole mundane life becomes very sacred, because you are the sacred witness of everything that is happening. Even if you're washing your dishes, you're almost like witnessing yourself. Thank you for the gifts. You're witnessing yourself washing the dishes. You're witnessing yourself being a human, and you're having both of those perspectives where it's like, I am the one who's here doing this mundane task and this is what it feels like, and then you have that ability to witness yourself doing that as well. So even the mundane becomes this sacred witnessing. Thank you, Rebecca. And so being the priestess in these modern days, it can be a complicated archetype, because we're being pushed and pulled from the craziness of what's going on politically and collectively, and what do we believe and what's our part in that, when do we speak, when do we not speak. And it's like consciously, constantly returning back to your center is so important. And that's why the circle casting has become like such a powerful thing for me, not just when I'm doing spell work, but to do every morning before I even get out of bed. I'm like a prayer in my head with my eyes closed, casting that circle of protection and empowerment around me so that I can stay at center. And when we are at center, it's easier for us to be able to witness and consciously release those things that are actually blocking us, because there is a higher level consciousness that is streaming into the collective. I often talk about these threads that connect us as one, as humans, and that we are all one. Whether we don't like these people or do like them, we are on this same thread of consciousness. We all chose to be here on this planet for a specific reason. And we are moving into this time period where there is enough people collectively, I still believe we're not to the tipping point yet, but we're kind of getting there, like where people are awakening and aware enough of themselves and the collective that we're consciously living, right? We're not just like blindly going through our life. That thread, that web between humanity is lighting up in this different way. Thank you, Marjorie. And because it's lighting up in this new way, all of humanity is benefiting. All of humanity's consciousness is slowly beginning to up level. People who were very closed off to certain thought processes and concepts are opening because the pulsating, let's call it light, of the collective spiritual awareness and awakening is getting brighter. And so when your energy field is constantly being pulsed by that, if there is any way for that to get into you, it's coming in. And I hope I'm making sense with this and I'm not like too far up and out and woo-woo for you, but I'm feeling like with the potent astrology that we are in right now, until we hit January 28th, it is like we are in this incubator that everything that our focus is going towards is going to be that run with this fire horse next year, that we're moving into that energy that is fire, that is movement, that is taking action in every way that your soul is like ready to run with. Now, if it's shadow work, it's going to be shadow work you're running with. If it is, some new aspect of your life, a new relationship, a new job, a new commitment, something that you're creating or that is important to your soul's path. So we're kind of in that womb, that dark womb energy right now. And, we're coming out of Mercury retrograde, so things should be getting clearer for you, feeling a lot of clarity. We're still in the back end shadow, which means that we're consciously integrating what we've learned over the past 3 weeks with that Mercury retrograde. And so we're re-looking at things. This is a great period to be in coming up on that full moon, because the full moon is going to help us release anything that we've got clarity around right now. And sometimes during those retrogrades, which there are quite a few things going retrograde at that time, you kind of get this, it's almost like there's all this like chaos that you don't realize what it is you're actually learning until you get to the back end shadow. And then it's like you look back at it and it's like, why did I react that way? Why did I do that? And there's all this clarity around why you did do it. It's like the why with the question mark, the answer is on the other side of that. Like, oh, I really need to change this, that, or the other, because that's not really who I am, but that's how I was behaving, right? Or that's how I was reacting to a particular situation, right? And so we're coming up on this full moon. It's like this beautiful opportunity with Gemini to be able to be so curious, and Gemini loves to expose truth, right? So I also believe we're going to be seeing coming forward into this month of December, there should be a lot of truths exposed. So the more that we can clear the way to accept the information that's coming in that is truth, the better we're going to be. And not that we have to attach to anything. We all are feeling, thank you, Jess, we're all feeling like we have to be on a different side. And it's really not about sides. It's about understanding yourself and what you believe and what's important to you and your heart. And in witchcraft, astrology is such a potent part of that. Understanding the energetic pulls that the universe is having, that the planets is having on you, and then being able to gear your particular craft, your work towards that, whatever that might be. So if you guys can, heart the live, hearting doesn't cost you anything. Share the live. When we get to 100K likes, I cast a circle And that circle brings you into that beautiful protected space of empowerment, and it will last until you lay your head down to sleep tonight, and then it will never be broken. And so within the week to come, that higher level wisdom, higher level awareness and consciousness can come in. You know, if there has been something that you want more of in your life and it isn't there yet, it isn't quite there yet, there's always a reason that it's not there. And that reason is usually we're holding on to something that's preventing that thing that we want to come in. So usually there isn't a passion for something that isn't meant for us. It's just sometimes we're not in the right place for that, what is meant for us to happen. And then there's always that aspect of it, you know, there's that song, sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers. Sometimes I thank the goddess for those unanswered prayers, because sometimes looking back, when you get caught up in just like going so fast in your life, you forget to look around and slow down enough that you really are in center, knowing what you want. And it's almost like your inner child is wanting this, and this aspect of yourself is wanting that, and you're just running with all the information that's coming in. And I think that's, you know, slowing down right now as we're coming into the Gemini full moon, because the Gemini full moon, that's the shadow aspect of it, is very chaotic and drama filled. And so really working on grounding yourself during this time so that you can see the higher level wisdom that Gemini actually has to offer. And that's what I was talking about in the beginning, is that Gemini isn't the twins in like, this is the evil version, this is the good version. It's more of the energy of, this is your human self and this is your divine self, and you have full access to both. And that higher level wisdom can come through your divine self, and you can live it in your human self if you are centered enough to be able to receive and integrate. So it's about receiving and integrating that within your life and not dipping into that shadow aspect. Now with a super full moon, the super full moon it's closer to the earth, it's having more of an impact. So energetically, it's influencing you more than the average full moon. So all of those, I am releasing this, is really being released. Like, what are you really willing to release? Because once you write it down and throw that paper in the fire, you know, what begins to happen is, if you've done the work to actually release it, then the energy is cleared. But if you haven't fully done the work to release it, meaning you haven't let go of it in your everyday life, then you're going to get a lot of lessons incoming. So the lessons incoming they can be a little rough when you're like, all right, I'm ready to be a spiritual teacher, but you're drinking wine, a bottle of wine every night of the week. And it's like, so I'm going to release all addictions. And so you throw the paper in the fire, and then later that night you pour yourself a glass of wine, and it's like, okay, that behavior hasn't changed. Well, why hasn't the behavior changed? It's because you haven't looked at why you're wanting that bottle of wine every night. It's not because it tastes good. It is because it is pushing down a feeling, an emotion, a experience, a trauma that you are not ready to deal with yet. And so when you started with something little, like, I'm ready to be a spiritual teacher, and so I'm giving up all my addictions that prevent me from being a spiritual teacher. And you think that by doing that you're just going to wake up tomorrow and all of the people that are meant to learn from you are going to come to you. And really what's going to happen is like, okay, she's saying to the universe, to her higher self, I'm ready to release addiction. And so when you go to pour that wine, it's like, you're pouring the wine. Why are you pouring the wine? Why are you drinking the wine? Because the hunger, the thirst for the wine is not a thirst for wine. It is a pushing down of something. So you can't both be this bottle of wine drinking every night spiritual teacher. Both don't go, if that makes sense. And so that's where, I hope I'm making sense. Does this make sense to you guys? Like, this is how the release system works. And a lot of people don't realize that when they are doing shadow work. It's like, it's really for you to acknowledge that the deeper things are what is preventing you from taking those next big steps. So, you know, your passion, your desire to be a spiritual teacher, it's there for you. I'm not saying it's not meant for you. That passion wouldn't be there if it wasn't in you to do that. It's just you have to move through these next steps that are not always accepted by the collective, by our families. And so they are hard steps to take. When you start going through a journey where you are healing something and it's a dark night of the soul, you know, the people around you are going to want you to stay, like, just stay in the light, you know, like, let's just have fun. I just want everyone to be happy. And that's great. I know everyone just wants to be happy. But also, in some points of our life, we need to make the decision to work on those things. That's why you chose here now to be here, is because you are the one in your family lineage to break those patterns. You are the priestesses, you know, and that's what I was talking about. Like, I always say all witches are priestesses, but it's not every single person that identifies as witches, especially as time goes on. It seems like the word witch is losing what it actually means. And so many people are just jumping on the bandwagon being like, I've done a spell and now I'm a witch. And it's like, there's so much more, because originally the witches were the priestesses. And so it's about going back to the old ways, but not perpetuating the toxic old ways of belief systems and things like that. And what that means for us is shadow work, and the deep dive shadow work, not the surface level shadow work. So yeah, giving up these addictions, and yeah, it's working with, you know, a lot of it I do feel, I don't know why addictions is coming in, maybe because Neptune's been retrograde. And is Neptune still retrograde? I'm not positive on that, but I know Neptune it's in Uranus. And so Neptune does, you know, it has that energy shadow side of shadow work, of not shadow work, of like spiritually bypassing things, using addiction, things like that. And so that might be why that's coming in for me. And that kind of, all of that moves around the 28th of January. And I believe Neptune goes into Aries. And so, you know, that Neptune in Aries, like your spiritual path, knowing who you are, being at center, being wildly wise, and understanding those, that your connection to source and creator, like that's what's on the other side of you releasing all those addictions. So there's many movements planetary wide that are like going to shift at the end of January. And that's why right now it's so important to realize you are in the incubator. You're cooking what's going to be moving next year into the world. And so this is such a powerful time. So I'm just going to go through some of these comments. Blessed be, what is my lineage? So I am Italian. Is that what you mean? I am Italian, Celtic. I just recently found out I'm Irish, Scottish, English, Welsh, and Italian. And I actually, as a witch, I am a initiated priestess of Isis, and in that lineage, and I'm a solitary witch, and I'm very eclectic, so I have a lot of knowledge in all the different lineages that is running through my bloodline. Thank you for your comments, Jen. Sober for 5 years now, fighting stage 4 liver cirrhosis. Oh, Wildflower, I'm proud of you for your 5 years sober. Really, with your name being Wildflower, I'm assuming you are already doing this, but make sure that you are working with some healing herbs for your liver. I know that can be a very difficult situation because anything you feed your liver kind of overwhelms it, even if it's good for your liver at that stage. But I think the most important thing you can do during some type of diagnosis like that is to work on the therapy aspect of it. If you can get a therapist and talk about your repressed anger from your childhood and release that, you're going to release the energy that, you know, may be preventing you from getting some forward movement. And I know the liver specifically, it can regenerate. It is able for it to regenerate. The thing about the liver is that it does hold repressed anger. And so if you're even on this live and you're someone that has gallbladder issues, or like the gallbladder is in that same area, holds that same energy. So if you have had the gallbladder removed, or having issues with it, or having like fatty liver, anything like that, or, you know, I think it was Jen's Wildflower is dealing with the stage 4 liver cirrhosis, like the energy of held anger, repressed anger. The thing about that is that, especially as women, we are told to be a good girl and to be poised and to be graceful. And, you know, I speak to this from example. I learned how to be poised and graceful and be in the middle of some extreme grief and still show up, and no one would be able to tell anything is wrong, because it's like I was trained to do that in my upbringing. But the training I just seen I had my gallbladder removed. I wish I didn't, but it was too painful. Yeah, I had my gallbladder removed as well, and I was having fatty liver, nothing compared to what you were, but that's not showing anymore as far as the fatty liver on myself. And I believe that's directly connected to that working with that repressed anger. So that every body part, every organ has the tendency to hold a particular energy. And when it holds it for too long, then there's some sort of disease that happens in the body. And repressed anger is a big one for women, because we show up with that grace and that, like, here I am, poised and beautiful, keeping myself as small as I can so that I am not noticed and I am just in the background. Like, there's so many things we have been programmed and trained to do that are not healthy for us, that are making us sick. And I put a little clip of my live recently about this. Like, you are allowed to be angry. And when anyone argues this with me, it is definitely something I will argue for, because now it makes me angry to hear other women not allowing themselves space and actually trying to teach other women that it's good to remain positive focused, because there is such a thing of toxic positivity. We need balance in all things, and women have been taught toxic positivity to be accepted in our mainstream world, and we're looked at as better and more likable and easier to be around, and that is not healthy for us. If you are angry about something, if you are sad about something, it is okay for you to be that. It is even more acceptable for a woman to be sad than it is for her to be angry. And so that's why I'm so passionate about anger, is because as a child, for myself, there was no room for my anger. There was 4 sisters in my family, and the one sister, like, she had every right to be pissed about life. Like, she had a lot of things going on, right? Her and I have a lot of the similar wounds, and we even share a genetic disease that's the same. But it's very interesting to see how she's doing versus how I'm doing. And she, as a child, allowed all of her rage to come out. But when she became older, she learned that same thing that I learned, like, you poise yourself up, and, you know, she has a lot of anger. And I had a lot of anger because there was only room for her anger. I had to protect the other two sisters from her anger because she would do crazy things like come at you with a knife and stuff. And so I was always the protector of the younger ones, meaning there was no room for me to be angry. Yes, I was raised in the Mormon religion. Yeah, for sure. And what's funny about being raised Mormon was I also knew I was a witch, even though, and the women in my family knew they were witches, or in my direct family, but we all were raised going to that church. So, but you know, we each have to look at our childhood experience and how we were allowed or not allowed to have anger. This is important if you have toddlers, because you know, we expect our toddlers to act like adults. And it's like having a child, it means being present with somebody else's anger. And when a child goes absolutely berserk and starts screaming and kicking and hitting, like there needs to be room for that. But it needs to be taught to move through it healthily. You know, like, why are you angry? What are you angry about? Because most of us got shut in a room if we were experiencing that type of anger and expressing it in that way, as say before 5 years old. And so a lot of us learned to compartmentalize and to oppress our anger. And what that looks like is our liver and our gallbladder and our appendix just go crazy with inflammation. And you know, it over time, if it's never addressed and you just keep compiling the anger, then things like the gallbladder being removed, fatty liver shows up, liver cirrhosis, you know, then we start turning to things like alcohol to help push down that pain. And you know, I find so many people in modern days need Christianity to be able to stop drinking. And it's like, they need to have another crutch or someone to save them. And it actually makes me sad when I'm glad when they find their way to sobriety, but when they find it through Christianity, a lot of times it doesn't stick. And I think that's because they don't really go deep enough. You know, they talk about what's happening now in their life, but not the things that are pushed down the deepest, right? And you have really bad abandonment issues at 56. So I'm sure as a younger person being abandoned, there was some anger around that abandonment that you never got to express. So I used to host these retreats, I'm not hosting them anymore, called Wild Woman. And part of Wild Woman was expressing that anger. And it was so interesting to see how women handled that. They would either completely deny that they had anger and just like move through the motions, and other ones would completely let it rip. Like one of the co-facilitators with me was like, how do you have that much in you? And it's like, when you feel everything to the amount that I feel, it's almost like there's no end to the anger that I have to release. And so at every retreat, we did that screaming practice. We called it the no meditation. And it's not a typical meditation where you're quiet, but we would all have pillows and we would play music that would invoke that rage in you, like the song Labor. If you're a woman, I would suggest when you're alone in your home, get some pillows out, blast that song, or maybe there's some Metallica song or something like that moves that rage up. And then you like beat the shit out of a pillow. You hit it, you kick it, because that anger needs to physically be moved in a healthy way. You don't need to be like having the anger overflow and then you blow up verbally on someone that doesn't really deserve it, right? Or your anger comes out as physical towards somebody else. I've been known to scream out the words to labor. Yes, screaming out the words sometimes helps you. And screaming no, like that's part of my Way of the Witch program is, you know, my Way of the Witch program is, there is shadow work exercises for your inner child, and one of them is the no meditation. And part of it, it's not just beating the shit out of the pillow, right? It's screaming no, because we were never allowed to have that no. We weren't allowed to say no. Maybe there was some sort of abuse, but also, like, in many forms, abuse from babysitters, grandparents, parents, sexual abuse. It could be anything, like, along that lines. Like, we need to take that time to scream no, because when you are screaming that out of you, you're moving it. And you scream no in your car. I do it in the forest as well. One day I scared the life out of my husband, and actually TikTok removed the sound when I screamed. I don't think Instagram removed the sound, but it was funny because he was videoing me in the forest, and I went running and I just stopped and screamed into the middle of the forest. And he legit was like, after he stopped me, he stopped videoing because he was like thinking that I was screaming like there was a bear or something. And it's funny because he knows I do this, like, but the scream like just hit him. He was like, that was so like real. And that's what, you don't want it to be a fake coerced scream or a fake coerced no. You want to scream it. You need to stomp your feet. Yes, that somatic scream that moves the energy. Yeah. We all need that as women, because so many of us are having our gallbladders removed and having our appendix removed. And it's like, you know, now I place and I've had my uterus removed and my ovaries. It's like we're removing the infected problem, but we're not addressing the energy that actually made that area of your body unhealthy in the first place. And so then it's going to go somewhere else. That energy will cause you to have heart problems. You can't remove your heart, can you? No, you can't. You need your heart. So we can only remove so many organs in our body and not address the underlying energies that are there, that are causing these health problems. Our bodies are meant to thrive. They are meant to be healthy. But the wounding over time has become so, it is just compounded immensely over the ages, that we are carrying not only our own wounding, but the energy of wounding in our DNA is so compounded that there are diseases that are popping up left and right, that it's like, where did this come from? Did this even exist back then? You know, I have something wrong with my DNA. It duplicates itself hundreds of times and gives me a neuromuscular disease. And it's like, okay, what do we hold in our muscles? That's how you have to look at every illness that you are being diagnosed with in your life, other than the common cold or flu. If it's the common cold and flu that keeps flaring up, that generally is the energy of your overdoing it. And so your immune system can't fight off what it's meant to fight off. So other than those common cold, flu, you know, something like strep throat repeatedly can be, especially as a child, can be something from your past life, or a Chiron wound that you came in with, not being able to express yourself. There's always an energy source there. And the thing is once it's manifested into an actual diagnosable disease, is that a lot of times the spiritual work isn't going to completely heal it, but you can change your quality of life. And sometimes you can turn back the clock. And I know that for myself. Like, if you look at me and you look at my sister, like when we were diagnosed, like we both have this disease we inherited from our father. I have actually gotten healthier and look better and feel better than I did 6 years ago when I was diagnosed. The other sister took the diagnosis and she looks worse and has gotten worse. My numbers are double what her numbers are. She was like under 6,000 and I was 12,000. My numbers were the same as my father that was 23 years older than me. And yet I took that and got myself better, even though they said what you're experiencing now won't get better, but you can stop it from getting worse if you manage your stress, right? So to me, it's, you know, really working with the healing, the things that I had repressed has changed my life. And that is why I'm such an advocate for this for women, because I believe it is specifically the things religion taught me to repress to be a good girl. You know, Jenny's saying she had a hysterectomy. A lot of us that are having hysterectomies have had some sort of SA in our life, whether as a child that we don't remember, and the energy goes there. You know, our brain pushes down the storyline, the actual worst of the trauma to protect us. And so really looking at those conditions like fibroids, endometriosis, all of those things that are for, you know, around womb related that would cause you to have a hysterectomy. There's usually energy trapped there that could be also around the mother, the lineage of the mother, or if it's paternal, it would be the grandmother on the paternal side is passing that energy. So whatever it is for you, whether it's a hysterectomy, I have Chiron and Gemini, and it took me years to find my voice. Yeah, they're part of my course. Way of the Witch goes into your Chiron as a way of healing. And the reason why my Way of the Witch course is it's so healing focused and empowerment focused is I believe that the witches that are drawn to me, their magic doesn't come from their book of shadows. Their magic doesn't come from a spell book. Their magic is innate. It is in their body. The things that they dream that they should be able to do is a potential for us. It's just that our wounds of this life are so thick that they are blocking all of this potential. And so these things are when you start to heal them, all of these what witches would call gifts begin to arise. I don't call them gifts because I believe everyone has them, and a gift makes it seem like you're just the only one that has it. Of course, your uniqueness of it is its own expression. I call them abilities. And, you know, Marjorie, for example, she's a priestess in my coven. I've watched her psychic abilities awaken within her. We had a really funny experience lately where she was tuning into a brother energy. I don't have a brother, but my husband has a brother, and it ended up being this hilarious thing that I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I am open to it. And turns out my brother-in-law had a crash on his bike, and I can't even tell you guys what he ran over, but that's what's so hilarious is what made him crash. But in the middle of the desert, he ran over something so funny. But it was like Marjorie was so connected to me in that moment that she was tuning into that energy of my brother-in-law crashing on his bike. So, you know, she has been doing my courses, and, you know, I've watched those things blossom in her. I've seen the light in her eyes that is beginning to sparkle more and more since she began. So it's amazing when you do shadow work. You know, so many people are afraid of the word shadow that they like steer clear of shadow work. And it's like, shadow work is what brings back the light in your eyes. It's what brings back the health in your body to those areas of sickness and illness and conditions and chronic pain. You know, the chronic pain epidemic, that alone should be cluing in. I mean, and they are just starting to realize this. I know Lady Gaga talks about it. Like, the chronic pain conditions are 100% real and connected to trauma and abuse and SA. I'm trying to say the words that won't get me kicked off here, and they feel so like It's foreign to me. My dog just barked. So it's hard for me to say those words. Like SA, like feels so weird to say it that way, or unalive. But yeah, the chronic pain epidemic, even if you find a disease, right? Like I eventually was diagnosed with a disease, a neuromuscular disease. And so it's like that neuromuscular disease has chronic pain with it. But also, could your chronic pain get better if you addressed the underlying amount of energetic trauma you have stuffed in your physical body? And for me, that is what has immensely helped me, is that working with the energetic pain. If you guys watch my lives, there's so many times my dog just decides to go crazy and bicker with my cats, and it's like he's here. Milo, stop! Sorry about his barking, but anyway, that is why in my courses I have them structured the way I do. And I know not all witches are looking for what I offer, right? They're not looking, they want the spell. They want the spells that are in my Book of Shadows. And it's like, even for me, all the spells are great, but really it's your relationship with the herbs. Have you built a relationship with the herbs, or are you just following spell? Because that's going to be the slow way, the turtle's path to your true potential as a witch. And so a lot of my work with women and through hosting retreats and witch school is to get you to develop what is innate within you, what is natural within you, what has been buried beneath the pain and the trauma of your life, because all of you have gifts. And that's like something so important to me, is that even though I'm here, your guide, I'm not telling you that you have to do it the way I do it. I'm here to celebrate your connection to the craft, not your family's connection, not to the book you bought on Amazon and are duplicating those spells. I want to celebrate with you your abilities as they rise, as they get stronger from doing the healing work. It's not just about the healing work. And something just popped in. Spirit was just like, hey, you just told a bunch of people to do the rage dance, the no meditation where you're kicking and punching and hitting, and you didn't tell them something. So what's important if you're going to do that, is that when you are done and complete, that you play a soothing music, like some soothing binaural beats, that you can hum, that you burn some incense, that you open some windows afterwards, because you want to move all that energy you just released out of your house. It's almost the same as you have to look at when you consciously release an energy like that. You don't want that energy to remain in your house, because it's going to attract like energy to it. So it's the same concept of like, practical magic is closing the toilet lid in your house, because what are you doing in the toilet? You're releasing, and you are releasing and you're flushing it down, right? But you're leaving the portal open. So you close the lid to close the portal to where everything goes, all the waste is going that you're releasing. So same thing goes with any expression of anger or rage that's consciously done. There needs to be some windows open, some breath work, some humming, to re-soothe the nervous system, to bring your nervous system back into a state of peace, of harmony, of balance. And you'll find after you do that, you feel so much better, as long as you want to make sure you come into that place where it's like, wow, like I am safe, I am whole, I am at center. Deep breaths, like re-soothing the nervous system afterwards is just as important as like yelling and hitting and punching and screaming and singing and stomping and all the things. Because you don't want to leave that energy of all that anger just floating around in your house, because, you know, one of your kids is going to walk in and maybe, you know, they aren't well protected, or your husband, and they're going to, you know, allow some of that energy to trigger their energy, and then you're going to end up with more anger and fighting in your house. So very important to make sure that you're doing some sort of clearing breath work. Sound, again, rocking is a, you know, that brings your nervous system back to, you know, out of that fight or flight state and into that parasympathetic nervous system where it's like, oh, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. And then you're moving out of sympathetic and into parasympathetic. So do you guys have any questions for me? Hello. You do it every day, Wildflower. I love it. I'm doing good today. I have not got kicked off yet. Marjorie, did you give them the code for the 50% off? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Tap, tap, tap. Jess has lupus. Yes, I believe lupus, there's probably some anger in there that needs to move, because the lupus really affects the liver, doesn't it? I mean, exactly what we're talking about today. I did a lot of my shadow work on TikTok Live. Comments often reflect what we are transmuting. Hi, Nita. Oh, it won't let you pin the code. So I will say it is weaving. Is it weaving or weave magic? Weave magic, all caps. Hopefully I don't get kicked off now. What does it mean if Hecate told you CV? I don't know what that means. Oh, these dogs are driving me bananas. Oh, I said magic. I said weave magic, then I give them the wrong one. Thank you, Max Joy. I wonder why it won't let... Does gratitude have two T's or one? I'm a terrible speller, I shouldn't say that. Thank you, Max Joy. Oh, now the dog's standing outside my door barking. Yeah, what does CV mean? My hat keeps flopping down on one side. Harmony, oh, but two? What do you mean, Jess, but two? Thank you, Marjorie. You got it up. Oh, there is two T's. See, I was wrong. Thank you, Jess. Oh, two T's, but not together. So I was right. Oh my gosh, we're confusing everyone. Jess knows. Yes. Weave gratitude. Weave gratitude. I only do this once a year on this weekend, I should say. I always start at Thursday and goes through Sunday. And that way it gives opportunity, because I know there's genuinely people out there, you know, who the prices sometimes make it not possible for them. So and primarily I work with women, you guys. So if someone that is male or gender neutral may, because there is a specific like section, it's related a lot to work with the priestess, because I am an initiated priestess of Isis, and my vow in that priestess work is to work with women specifically. And the thing is women need safe spaces to heal. So yeah. And the curriculum is it's all online. None of it is taught live, but I do have there is a space that is opened up, but it is opened up for women only, or women identifying people, to post their homework. And that's because, again, like when you post your homework, when you're in those courses and you I'm stumbling over my words, post your homework, then I am able to give you feedback. Yes, I am. That is where I post, if you guys see Wildflower's comment, that's where I post the live replays. And the same videos, you know, are on all those different areas, but that is specifically where I post the live replays. And there's a lot of information that's free that I give in my lives weekly, but it's 11 o'clock, you guys. We only have 47,000 likes and hearts in the comments, so start hearting that live, because we don't have that much time before 11:30, and I'm gonna go to a holiday market a little bit later. So if you want me to cast a circle, start hearting the live up, tap 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 as you're listening. Thank you, Marjorie, for moderating and pinning in the comments. Marjorie is a priestess in my coven. If you haven't followed her, go follow her. Jess is, Anita's in the coven, Max Joy's in the coven. Yeah. So thank you for being here, to all my beautiful sisters, and keeping the comment thread high vibe and loving and supportive. Thank you for liking the live. And little Sammy, are you in the coven? What is your name in the coven? I gotta learn, once I realized, like, I didn't realize Jess was J.S, and I figured that out one week, and then I was like, oh, that's Jess who came to the retreat in Salem. Then usually once I figure out who goes with who, then I love to acknowledge that you're all here with me, because it makes me not feel alone too. So any other questions about the full moon, about witchcraft? I am here for you guys. Oh, it's Tanika. Wait, Tanika is Crunchy Witch? Okay, I didn't know Crunchy Witch was Tanika. Who's little Sammy though? Okay, now I know it's you, Tanika. See, when your names don't match, I'm like, Who's Crunchy Witch? Then I start calling you Crunchy Witch. Like for the longest time I called Marjorie, what was it, Nana Witch or something? Yes. For my birthday on the new moon, solstice eve, any good rituals I should do? For your birthday. Your birthday's on the new moon. Is the new moon on the solstice? No. Is the new moon? No, it's close to the solstice, but it's not on the solstice, is it? Anyway, the solstice is a powerful time for shadow work, so I would do a release ceremony for sure. Everything I was talking about earlier with the full moon, I can be done through the entire month. So December 20th, because I believe the solstice is exact this year on the 21st, so 20th would be Mother Night. And Mother Night is that night we labor with shadow and serve the goddess and do self-care. So I would do a lot of self-care work. Do something that honors you, that, is about you taking care of you. If you think of Mother Night, the night before solstice is when they seen the goddess laboring with the sun, the S-U-N, sun. And so when you think of a mother in labor, she's like crying out in pain. So it's like releasing of the pain and tuning into that courage and strength. And, we are at the longest day and night of darkness. And so I know, saying shadow work on that time is like, who wants to do that on their birthday? But really doing some really beautiful ceremony of release. And maybe even not just release, but like owning the lessons on the other side of what you've released. That is really beautiful. So someone is asking how to get rid of trickster energy. The thing about trickster energy is the trickster energy can come through the Fae, can come through Coyote. And the thing about trickster energy is we as humans love to project that outside of us. And that flame to my left looks so perfect. It almost looks like a fake candle. So does the right one. But the thing is if there is a trickster playing with you, the reason the trickster is usually there is because Coyote is there with you. And Coyote is like, I will show you where you trick yourself. And how you trick yourself is, spiritual bypassing. It's around pushing things down, saying they're healed when they're not, avoiding looking at things that we need to look at. And so the tricksters often come in to say like, hey, how are you tricking yourself? I'm going to keep tricking you until you realize that you're tricking yourself, until you start realizing I'm hiding things from you because you're hiding things from yourself. Does that make sense? And Coyote is always like there when there's a wolf in us, and the wolf would be the energy of the wolf. The wolf is like the wise one, the wisdom keeper. And so when Coyote when we want to walk with the wolves, but we are actually in the space of Coyote, then the wolves are going to keep throwing us back to Coyote and saying, deal with Coyote. And so a lot of times the way Coyote will come into a witch is through the trickster energy of the Fae or Loki or something like that. And it's like when you sit down with Loki or the Fae or the wolf and you say, or the Coyote, sorry, and say, okay, Coyote, why are you here? Why are you one of my spirit guides? And that could be, my son has Coyote as one of his spirit guides. And I think it's, there's a tendency to want to protect your heart so much that there are just some things that are off limits. And so Coyote and Loki or the Fae that will trick you are like, hey, let's like pull those barriers down, and yeah, we're gonna make you laugh and we're gonna make you giggle because this happened or that happened. But it's during those times where it starts happening so much that you're like, what the heck is this? Or you start laughing until you cry. That's why Loki's there. That's why the Fae is there. That's why that trickster energy is there. It's to help you uproot what is like truly preventing you from shining at this like aspect of yourself that you have yet to explore, just because you were shoving it down. Yeah, Loki was an amazing inventor. So like use that energy of the trickster, like really to look at yourself, because behind everything that we shove down and hide from ourselves, there's something amazing there on the other side of it. And not a lot of people look at that when they're working with Coyote or Loki, or, you know, sometimes the Fae will trick you and people will just be like, the Fae are mean. And I'm like, I don't think the Fae are mean. I actually don't think they're mean. Even when they're being little brats, little shitheads, and doing things, there's a reason they're doing it. They're not just shitheads. Usually if it's the Fae, you're not honoring the earth in some way. And they're like, hello, I'm here, leave me an offering. And they are the protectors of the earth. So when the Fae are hiding things from you, which I believe they've done with me, you know, it's like, hey, slow down, make sure you're honoring the earth. And there is a playful also energy there. And sometimes they're there just to be like, I'm gonna keep hiding these things from you, because it's like you're playing hide and seek with your inner child. So there's that aspect as well that comes through the Fae a lot. I don't feel that energy with Coyote or Loki, but with the Fae, and they're, you know, I believe a lot of times like they're hiding things from us to get us to play, if that makes sense. And so people take that as mean, right? And sometimes their energy, ferocious, can be labeled as mean, right? And I've had to work with that within myself. Like if I have to stand up for someone or protect someone, of course the person I'm going up against is going to be like, you're mean, but they can't see themselves. So we have to come to terms with the fact that we can't be the nice guy in everybody's story. If you're going to be a protector or protectress, you have to be willing to be seen as the bad guy to the one you're rising up against, because obviously they wouldn't be doing what they do if they could see themselves. But to the other guy, you're actually, you know, a good guy in their story. But to the other person you're rising up against, they're always going to see you as bad, right? Like I had to be able to sit here in this chair and talk to you, I have to be willing to be the bad guy in every Christian's story that comes across my page. Any Christian that comes across my page, even the Christian witches, I'm the bad guy. And it's like, I'm only the bad guy because you can't see yourself, right? And that's when Coyote comes in, like, hey, little girl that's calling yourself a Christian witch, you're just a witch that's hiding in the broom closet. Like, there is a lot of power in you. You are a witch. I am not downplaying that at all, but you shouldn't teach other people to hide in the broom closet. There's nothing healthy about that. You shouldn't try to appropriate the witch's magic just because Christians appropriated everything from the pagans' folklore to create their religion. Don't get me started with the delusions. Same, Jess. Like, yeah. Even on Thanksgiving, my husband, like, we don't really do much on Thanksgiving, and he's always like, you know, and I just, like, when I start talking about it, he's like, you're just on one today. And I'm like, because the whole world's deluded right now, and they're not the whole world, but it's the US, like, so delusional. All right, any more questions? We're at 11:20 and 61,000 hearts. I guess no casting of a circle today because there's just not enough hearts coming in. But I will be here next Sunday to do it. How to process Ad Ukraine. I don't understand what you're saying. Certainly not religious. The people taught me, and pets are unconditional. Pets are unconditional. Animals are unconditional. Is that the Hecate dress? No, but the Hecate dress looks very similar to this one. And I don't know if this one's still on their website. It's a little different if you look at it. I do have the Hecate dress. I wore it last week. It doesn't have the flowy sleeves. It just has these kind of sleeves. And the Hecate dress has kind of like almost like a layered thing going on down here. But yeah, if it's lace, I usually get it because I love lace. I'm crooked. Trying to figure out where exactly to put this. Look at these cool bottles. Well, I'm not allowed to show you guys. Somebody told me if I show people things on my live, they won't suggest my live anymore. But I found these green bottles. I'm super excited to add so I had a brand blend of oils that I did when my boutique was open 5 years ago. And I still have people here in town that use them, and I'll make them for them. And my daughter uses them at her salon, and when people walk in, they always want it. Well, I haven't made them in a while. And one's called Mystic Heart, and the other one is a banishing blend. And so those are the only two I made and used in my boutique, but people loved them. And they, like I said, I still make them for a few yoga teachers in town. My daughter uses them at her store, and she's always telling me, make them so people can buy them. They want them. So those are going to be, I can't, like I said, I can't say certain words on my live or I'll get kicked off. But yeah, those are going to be out soon because I was totally inspired by some green bottles that we got for our Practical Magic retreat. And I was like, when we found them, I was like, okay, now I'm inspired to create my blends again because I love these bottles. And I also got them in black. So the Banishing blend is going to go in this black bottle. But this is what I'm going to be working on the next few days is blending all these oils and making these sprays. Yes. The frosted green. Isn't it cute? I wish the spray bottle was a frosted green, but it's not. I couldn't find one in the frosted. I know, right? I need to come up with a spell. I just need to, I need to get more sovereign around TikTok. I've been very much throwing a fit about what's happening on TikTok. And so that's reflecting in everything that's happening to my page. I 100% know that. But I also know that, I have also been in a deep grief, like even before I lost my baby Roxy. I was in a space of denial, like trying so much to keep her alive these last 2 months. Since she was diagnosed, it was a lot. And I realize now I was in denial. She was ready and I was not. And so, I think just overall, as far as TikTok and seeing everything that's happening, I think that's a reflection of me struggling as I'm been grieving. I think I was grieving her before she even passed because I was not wanting to make that decision. And I was doing everything I could to not make that decision. My poor husband was getting driven crazy by the amount of puppy pads and the amount we were having to feed her every 2 hours. And all we could feed her was churros. And so we were spending so much money on food, and it was like, how long are you gonna let this go on, Harmony? How long are you gonna let it go on? And last week after I got off my live, disgusting the trickster archetype, I was tricking myself. So last week when I got off the live, and what's funny is I kept asking Roxy, give me a sign when you're ready, give me a sign when you're ready. And people would say to me, she's 19, she's lived a good life. And I'm like, but she still looks at me with those eyes. Like, she trusts me. I don't want to make the wrong decision for her. So I kept asking for a sign from her. And Saturday, she had once like stopped in the middle of the house, and she was peeing wherever she was. Like one morning she peed on me in bed. That could have been the sign. I didn't take that as a sign. She was like, she'd stop in the kitchen right in the middle of the floor and just pee. But then the day before my live last week, for the first time, she stopped in the middle of the living room and belted out this cry that was like a howl, and just started peeing. And I was like, what is that? And then she went and laid by the water bowl. And then after I got off my live last week, I was hurrying to go somewhere, and right before I walked out the door to go see my friend who was going to do my hair, she did that, like she howled out, and I was like trying to clean up her pee, and she went and laid by the water bowl, and she had draped her head over the water bowl and was like trying to drink, and like wedged herself between the wall and the water bowl. And I was like, wow, you know, I cleaned it all up, made sure she was okay. Then I went to have my hair done, and the two signs I took that I was, well, that day I took them, and I think probably because I casted the circle last week, but I'd cast the circle, then I went straight to get my hair done after I cleaned up Roxy's mess and made sure she was okay. My friend, I told her why I was late was because I was cleaning up and all that, and she said, and she's this like ADHD, like never talks 100 miles an hour, like, you know, she's like so all over the place, and she just like stops dead in her tracks and is like, looks me straight in the eye and is like, Harmony, give her her dignity. Do not make her hold on longer than she wants to hold on. You have to give her that final gift. Don't wait until they can't find a vein. And she's like speaking like she's this wise crone. I've never heard her speak like this, by the way. Like, she's usually going 100 miles an hour. I can't even describe it. Like, she laughs just to fill silence. And so while I was sitting there, I text my vet, who's a friend of mine, and I said, I think it might be Roxy's time. This is what she's doing. And she said, yeah, it's time, Harmony. Like, there's nothing more we can do. And so my husband was supposed to go to his brother's the next day, and I called him and I was like, Dana said, you know, it's time. And I was like, I think we need to go tomorrow. And he was like, well, I have to go to my brother's tomorrow. And I was like, Tuesday. And then I was like, I just hate scheduling it. Like, I'm scheduling your death day. Like, that does not feel right to me. And then I got home and I was holding her and rocking her on the couch. And you guys have heard me talk about my friend. I refer to her as my Native American mentor that's a witch. And she texts me and says, Harmony, I was doing a healing session from somebody out of town, and your son came into the healing session, straight-faced, held his hand out to me, and I took his hand and we sat down, and he said nothing, but he looked at me and just looked at me with that straight face. And she said, call me as soon as you can. And so I was sitting on the couch holding and rocking Roxy. So I called her. I called Kai first, my son, and he said he was fine. And then I called her and I said, you know, Kai's been actually better than good. And I was like, but I'm sitting here rocking Roxy, trying to decide, you know, this. And she just immediately was like, Harmony, your son came to me in the healing session, so I would reach out to you. And she said, you know, went into this big discourse around, you know, why I needed to do this and it was okay to do it. And so I got off the phone with her, and Roxy had made her way off the couch and just went and collapsed over by the water bowl again, and her head was hanging in the water bowl. And I realized, like, I kept asking for a sign, and, you know, Rebecca Cute Hands, she of anybody on this planet, 99.9% of the time, if she told me to do something, I would do it. I trust her that much, and I just knew in that moment, like, Spirit knew that she was the only person who was going to get me not to keep putting this off, because, you know, I'd raised Roxy since she was a baby, and I just felt like she helped me through so much healing work. And also, you know, after losing Mila, my soul dog, like Mila was my protector, my guardian. Like, I have such a unique, like, I swear, like, people will say they like animals better than humans, but really, I really do. I shouldn't admit that, but like, I spend more time with my animals than I do anyone on this planet. They are my whole heart and soul. So this week has been a rough week for me, and it was like, I am trying to, every time I experience grief, to move through it a little differently, because I know grief is one of those, like, it's a hard thing for me. It's something I'm always working with, moving through. And it's like, I started having reason to have grief when I was, you know, the first person I knew to pass was another child at, you know, I was 13. And so, you know, I've had a lot of that in my life. I'm very comfortable with it with people, but with, animals or people that are close to me, it's still like, ugh. It's one of those hard to feel, right? Hard to let yourself feel. But, you know, thank you for listening to my story. I was like, I'm not going to talk about this on my live today, because I know I won't be able to do it and not cry, completely like lose my shit kind of cry. And I think I've been able to do that okay today, and that's good. So thank you for holding space for me to be able to talk about her. You know, she loved to be in here during my lives. She was always sunbathing. But you guys, I don't know what the deal is, but nobody likes to tap the heart today, because we're at 86,000 and it's 11:30. And Jess is actually, I don't know if Jess wants me to say this. Jess has mediumship abilities, and she was helping me the other day a lot. We were chatting through Messenger, you know, because I don't see or hear my pets after they've passed, or dream of them like I do with people. And so she was really helping me be able to see that from a different perspective, you know. And so, yeah, so Jess is a medium. She's saying I can say she is. So yeah, she was giving me some advice, because she has had experience with the loss of your fur babies, and also as a medium, and you know, why you might not have experience in one area but you do in another area, and to consider those things. And that actually helped me, her perspective helped me be able to start processing it a little better and see it from a different light, have this different amount of clarity. You know, I think that's people that work as mediums in this world. I think more than, like, you know, there's a lot of healing messages they give from people on the other side, but I think that they're healers in their own right, even though they're doing it through mediumship, if that makes sense, because their perspective and their guidance is like, it helps you. Yeah. I can just say, after talking to her, I was like, you know, a medium's gift is really a healing gift in its own right, even though it's through communicating with spirit, because her perspective of that really helped me, because for whatever reason, you know, and I think it's just a thing with me. Like, some people, she was sharing, some people just, you know, she uses someone else to communicate with her family. And so for me, you know, I have been able to communicate with family, but not my pets. And so I feel like for me, I might just have to utilize someone else. And also through her experience, I was able to start looking at what happened with Roxy with more clarity, and as more of, you know, releasing her, doing what was best for her in this lifetime. So yeah, Jess, I think Jess should be doing more of her mediumship. You're crying right now. I think Jess should be showing up with her mediumship abilities more. And, you know, I'm pretty sure I reached out to her and just started talking to her about it because I was feeling so lost in that grief. So thank you, Jess, for helping me with that, because I really do want to see my animals. And what I did realize was that, you know, it's just my animals I can't see. So at our retreat center where we hold practical magic, there's a cat on that property I have seen multiple times. And I'm like, so it's not that I can't see pets in the spirit realm. I really think it's my pets and partially my grief, maybe even. Yeah. Well, oh my gosh, we just hit 100K. Can we communicate with pets through the spirit board? Is it only people? I would say we can communicate with pets through the spirit board. What do you think, Jess? We have 100K likes, so I am going to cast a circle here soon, but I want to hear what Jess has to say about, do you feel like we can use the spirit board, the Ouija board, to connect with pets? I would say yes. But I don't know, because they don't have a language, like they don't know how to spell unless they've been in a human. I don't know what she'll say about this. I guess I've never tried to communicate with a pet through the spirit board. That is a great question though. And I don't know everything, so I'm always happy to steer you guys to people who might know. And Marjorie, you're gonna get to meet Jess at the Salem retreat. It's all about intention. So that would mean she's saying yes. It's all intention. So if your intent is strong enough, yes. But Marjorie, you'll get to meet Jess at Salem retreat because she is coming. And we still have space at Practical Magic. So are you guys ready to cast a circle? So I cast a circle, an energetic circle of protection and empowerment by calling upon different deities and goddesses, ascended masters. Thank you for your wisdom, Jess. You guys should go follow her if you don't. And so I love for you can just sit and watch and witness and not be a part of it. That's fine. You also can accept the circle of protection within your energy field by typing in the chat, yes, thank you, I accept, I receive, I claim. Any of those phrases will allow the circle that I'm casting to be received in your space. So you can say that aloud in your room if you don't want to say it in the chat. You just have to accept that. Otherwise, you're just witnessing, watching, which is beautiful as well. Circles are traditionally cast before doing spell work to protect the witch or the spellcrafter. And the way I cast mine is by, in each direction, we call in the elements and we call in a deity that I work with in that direction. And I will say, bless us as we call your name. And then I'll say, Hecate. So I invite you out loud to say with me the deity's name. And what this does is invites this circle around you of deities. Now, this circle will remain open, or it will remain sealed until you lay your head down to rest tonight. Then it will be opened, meaning the circle will dissipate, but it will never be broken, meaning those energies are going to be there with you strongly as you integrate whatever came in from now until when you go to bed tonight. So, to be able to take part in this, you just have to say, yes, I accept, thank you, I receive, whatever it is you want to say in the chat or out loud. And then you're going to find a place that you can sit down where your spine is long and straight from your sit bones all the way to the crown of your head. No crossing legs if you can, that kind of blocks your energy. And if you're lying down, keep your spine long, not curled up like this, because again, that's kind of a movement of blocking or protecting your energy field. So you really want to be open to receive and sitting like you're open to receive, allowing your body to reflect that openness that you have. This is nothing evil, nothing demonic. It is a circle that will empower you, calling forth the highest expression of each deity and their story that I call forward. And it brings their energy into your field, so it will help ignite those same aspects that those deities have within them that exists within you. And I do this every Sunday, just so you guys know. So I'm going to take a drink of water really quick, and then we're just going to let the chat run. I'm going to close my eyes and be casting the circle. I invite you to close your eyes. If you have headphones, put headphones in. Go somewhere where you'll be undisturbed so people aren't bothering you. It will take about 15-20 minutes max. And we'll talk about anything you felt, seen, experienced afterwards. All right. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Let's go ahead and take 3 deep breaths together. Your palms are open wide. Relax your body. Empty your body of your breath. And when your body's empty of breath, then seal your lips and slowly begin to inhale through your nose. Feel the air move through your nostrils, through your throat, into your lungs, deep into your belly. When you feel you can't take any more air, then take in another sip, and then part your lips and audibly let it all go. Press all the stagnant air out using the press of your abdominal muscles. Push all that air out, then seal your lips a little bit quicker, inhaling through the nose. Again, noticing the breath enter every part of your body. Feel your heart expand, your belly expands with this breath. So let the belly get big, like a baby belly breath. Let the inhale expand the breath, the belly, rather than bringing it in. So push your belly out. Open your mouth audibly. Exhale. Belly comes in as you exhale. Push all the air out. Inhale again, sealing the lips. Feel the baby belly come all the way out as you inhale. Let your belly expand all the way out. Bring that breath all the way to the tips of your toes, the tips of your fingers, and soften into this. Hold your breath. Just continue to hold. Feel that belly big, round, full. Part your lips, audibly let go. And we're going to do that belly breathing just for a few minutes. Let your breath return back to a nice natural rhythm and pace. But what I want you to do here while I'm casting the circle is to allow your inhale to expand your belly and your exhale to draw your belly in. Inhale, belly gets wide. Exhale, belly comes in, contracts. So let that breath flow in and out, this baby belly breath. We use this in yoga to calm the central nervous system. Just letting that breath flow in and out. As I call forth concentric circles of light to surround us now, across mountains and deserts, cities and oceans, we are all connected here on this planet. We cast this circle around all who accept it. The circles of light will show up for you uniquely in patterns and pulsating rhythms, but the circle of light is unending. Watching, witnessing this circle of light as if you are standing in the center of this sacred circle. To see the circle pulsating, you turn in each direction to witness that it is an unending circle of light that you stand within. You find yourself at center, Your feet are rooted into your Earth Mother. Your crown is open to the sky, the planets above you. Your heart expands so wide that its energy moves even beyond the circles of light, and it is coming not only from the front of your heart, but the back of your heart. So this heart expansive energy surrounds you. And as you breathe and your belly expands, the heart energy gets wider. And as you exhale and the belly contracts, the energy moves back in closer towards you. So feeling the energy within these pulsating circles of light, moving out and moving in, moving out, moving in. Really connecting with your own energy here, your own life force, the power of your being, and your ability to cast circles of light around you. So really connecting with that breathing out feeling of expansion and the feeling of contraction as you exhale, the feeling of expansion as you breathe in. As you breathe out, it contracts. As I call forth the guardians of the watchtowers of the north, south, east, and west. Guardian of the north, keeper of earth, keeper of the sacred flame, the torches of light that light the way in the deepest, darkest places of our earth and within our body. I call forth the spirit and the element of earth. I call forth keeper of the keys, keeper of the crossroads. I call forth she who is mother of witches, to hold us in the sacred space of the earth now. She arrives with her torch of light, black cloak that she wears, flows in the wind, that makes you feel so held within this cloak that she wears. This deity holds out the keys. She holds out her hands to the possible paths that lie before you. She has both the torch of light to guide you through the darkness and the keys to unlock the doors to the path that you will take. She says you must just call upon her and she will be there. Bless us as we call your name. Hecate, 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 Hecate. Guardian of the northeast, keeper of the rising sun and the sacred wells, we call upon you, dear one, your soothing waters that quench our thirsty soul, and the light of the flickering flame that sets beside you along the trickling creek that you rest. The flickering lights reflecting into the waters, allowing each of us to step forward next to you, dear goddess, dear deity, dear keeper of hope, wisdom and healing light. We sit beside you at the creek side and gaze into the water's reflection, the candle flickering, and seeing what's hidden beneath the surface of the water's edge, beyond the reflection of us. And as we do, we call your presence forth. Bless us as we call your name, Brigid, 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 Brigid. Guardian of the East, keeper of air, I call upon the element and the spirits of air to join us now. She of 10,000 names, she of 10,000 spells, she who has the secrets of the sun and the moon and the earth and the winds. She was seen as many within Divine Mother, within Hecate, within so many of our deities. We see the reflection of you. She who awakens the angel wings, the angelic, pure, innocent, inner child within us all. And she who carries the wisdom of this full moon that is incoming through her element of air. She awakens your wings moving from your spine, feeling them radiate beyond you within your circle of light. Bless us as we call your name, Isis, 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 Isis. Guardian of the Southeast, keeper of sovereignty, she who rides upon horseback with birds trailing in the dust from the horse's hooves. She who rides the winds of change. She who flies and soars like a bird. She who is sovereign in all ways. She honors her path and reminds us to honor ours first. To always remember we have the choice to heed the call of those around us, to discern whether it is a call to be part of a codependent cycle or a call to continue riding along our path and sending light and love as we do. She awakens the song of our throat. She awakens the song of our belly. She awakens the song of our heart. She awakens the song of the Divine Mother of all life. Bless us as we call your name, Rhiannon, 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 Rhiannon. Guardian of the South, keeper of fire, I invoke the element and the spirit of fire. Queen of the Fae, she who knows love is the way. All aspects of love are embodied by this deity and awakened to be safe within you as well. She awakened your love. With her kiss, you will be drawn back to her embrace and her wisdom and her radiant love that exists within you again and again, almost like an addiction. She holds the magic of love. And that is what brings her lure, is that to kiss her lips, that something is awakened within you, whether man or woman. It is the love that you are that she awakens, the wholeness of that, whether in her story of righteous rage and fierceness as she fights back and heals herself, so can you fight back for yourself and heal yourself. The fire within her is love. The fire within her creates the love. Fire within her breath is pure light. It both can destruct, destroy, and create, as so can your love. This deity invites you to embrace all aspects of love within yourself, both the fire that is destruction, the fire that is power, the fire that is sometimes feared, but only meant to be respected. Bless us as we call your name. Anya, 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 Anya. Guardian of the Southwest, keeper of mystery, she who has woven herself through the threads of time, through the darkness of history, through hallways, through passageways, through realms deep within the earth, beneath the water's edge, all the way into the deep hidden tunnels and recesses of humanity's consciousness. She has woven her wisdom, she has woven her light. She was one of the first witches, but we don't see her as that. It is time that we see her different. It is time that we know her trueness. She was a witch, and that is why she has woven her web through history, just as we witches have woven our wisdom through histories, through the shadows, through the darkness, through the tunnels, beneath the water, beneath the earth. We are wise. We are power. We are one with her. Bless us as we call and reclaim your name and your power as our birthright. Bless us as we call your name. Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene. Guardian of the West, keeper of water, I invoke the element and the spirits of water. Call forth the keeper of the cauldron, the alchemy of the cauldron, the compassion of the water, the ferocity of the water that is the feminine, the water that heals and quenches our soul's thirst for more life. For the water reminds us when the well has run dry, the experience is then longed for. And through this wisdom, the water, this deity reminds us to alchemize the life that we have always dreamed of is her power, is this power of the cauldron. Do not wish your life away. Do not wish these years to go by quicker than they must. Embrace the moment, embrace the water, and more water will pour through to you. The alchemization of water through her sacred cauldron is owning your power. Do not wish this to be your last life. Do not wish this to be your only life. Do not wish this life to be perfect. Do not wish this life to be anything other than what it is. She reminds your passion is in the cauldron, waiting to be born, waiting to be alchemized into something new. The water turns to soup. The water can be a hurricane. The water can be a flood. The water is your tears. The water is the womb and the oracle therein. The water is the feeling of your heart. The water is where you see your reflection. The water is the birth of all life and the pathway into it. Remember, you are water. Remember that you are the child that took its first breath when released from the water. Without water, you do not live, just as you do not live without breath. Don't forget how powerful the water is. Bless us as we call your name, Ceridwen, 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 Ceridwen. Guardian of the Northwest, weaver of our sacred circle, queen of witches, queen of the oppressed, weaving our sacred circle, pulsing the circle with light, feeding the sacred web of life with your wisdom. Your story reminds us of our purpose. Your story reminds us that the power is within the oppressed, not within their ability to draw lines in the sand, but their ability to feel, their ability to use the wisdom of their clairsentience to pulse light throughout humanity's hearts and souls and bodies, and allow us to move into a space of higher level consciousness through the sacred web that you weave, blessing the witch, blessing the oppressed with the witch's wisdom. For once upon a time, the witches upon our planet were blessed to be witches. Through you, dear deity, you, dear goddesses, wisdom of how to save yourself within a codependent world, weaving the sacred wisdom back into our soul, back into our lives, back into our sacred circles. And as you do so, bless us as we call your name, Aradia, 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 Aradia. I call forth the loving Earth Mother from beneath us to rise up and support us as we surrender into her loving, unending embrace, nurturing, unconditional love that always gives back no matter how much we abuse her. And so we take this moment in time to send our love, to connect with her, to remember that as we honor her, we honor ourselves. As we honor our loving Earth Mother, we honor ourselves. As we love our Earth Mother, we love ourselves. As we love our Earth, we love our life. I call forth the ancestors that walked this earth before all of us, who walk the earth now, who paved the path, the indigenous ones who are oppressed. We call your spirits forth that walk with us in a good way. We call forth the fae, the elementals and the gnomes, those who protect and guard these realms. From above us, we call forth the star brothers and sisters. We call forth the planets, the star systems, the homes that we cannot see beyond, but we know they are there. The home of our soul, the home of the seed that was once our soul. Call forth all the star brothers and sisters to pour your wisdom forth as you witness this sacred circle today. And as we do so, we bring our hands to heart center, left hand on the heart to receive, right hand over the heart. As we call forth the I am presence of each sovereign individual in this sacred circle today, we call your I am presence to step forward in the center of your heart space, the seat of your soul. We ask that the child within you, all ages, all dimensions, step forward with their inner genius, with their creative genius, with their light, with their divine purpose and wisdom and spark. We invite you forward to feed this sacred circle with the passion that we will move forward and manifest within this next coming year. Awaken us to the things we know we did not remember we always wanted. Help us to let go of the past. Help us let go of the pain. Help us release all of the ways that block us. Release for our ancestors, release for ourselves, release for those who come in the future and the earth that we live upon. And as we do, we call forth the sacred circle to lift up, up, up to the 7th and 8th plane of consciousness, where divine knowing and miracles take place. As we lift this circle up to the 7th and 8th plane of consciousness, we ask that our bodies, minds, hearts, and spirits acclimate and provide that the rest of this day will remain a safe space within this circle to be in this level of consciousness, that we may be the sacred witness and experience the divine flowing through us. As we are the sacred witness, we are the goddess. We are the goddess moving through us. We experience the goddess moving through us, and we become all with this energy. And as we do so, we seal this sacred circle, as above, so below, as within, so without. It is done, it is done, it is done, and so it is. Blessed be. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. In through the nose, belly expands. Out through the nose, belly contracts. One final time. In through the nose, belly expands. Out through the nose, belly contracts. On your next inhale, feel life move into your body. Next exhale goes through the mouth. As your eyes flutter back open, you find yourself back in the space here now, with all of us here who cast this sacred circle together. Blessed be, Jess. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Damon. I would love to hear any experiences that you might have had, colors of light you've seen. Blessed be. Blessed be, Tanika. Blessed be, Betty Jo. Thank you, Jillian. Blessed be. Hopefully you're feeling a little more at peace. You had a lot of light language come through. That's beautiful. Orange today. I love it. Creation. Thank you, Charmed Pixie. Thank you, Katra9. Nita. For the first time, I had blue and an orange light. Ooh. Bright blessings, blue and orange. Creation of something spiritual, I would imagine. Blessed be, Sunny. Well, thank you all for being here, and thank you all for liking the live. I got a little emotional, but felt supported and uplifted. There must have been something that you wanted to release through that. Why is my screen? Through that cry. May I ask you, pull a thread at the conclusion. Pull a thread. What do you mean, pull a thread? If you're in Nigeria, it will be hard to join us unless you join our virtual coven. Our retreats are here in the US, in Sedona or Salem. You felt Hecate's pull today. Beautiful. Did anybody else resonate with any of the deities? It was emotional but safe. Oh, hail Hecate, blessed be Wildflower. Thank you for being here today. Blessed be yellow light. Hecate pulled you. Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Stitch Witch. Blessed be. I think I'm caught up on the comments. If I'm not seeing your comments, I'm sorry. Purple and yellow. Oh, I'm not doing spell casting on this, so yeah. We work with those threads in weaving magic in my courses. That's, I feel like, something that's more advanced than something I want to bring here to the collective, because not everyone is in that space, if that makes sense. So I am very particular around my magic and how I share it and what I share where. So yeah, I do know what you're talking about, pulling a thread. I don't call it pulling a thread, but I know what you are speaking to now. So yeah. Caradwin, I love that. Someone connected to Caradwin. Felt the rush of Hecate. A lot of Hecate today. I've really felt Caradwin today too. Aradia, Betty Jo felt Aradia. I love Aradia. You know, Aradia's story is so potent. Aradia as a deity is really under-celebrated in these times, because so many people are being oppressed right now, that her, if you look at her one of her main stories is helping the oppressed with her wisdom. Thank you for the gifts. Hi, Kelly. Thank you for being here, sister. We just got done casting our circle. I was about to go off because I'm going to go to a holiday market with my daughter today. Hi, Jenna. Is Air Isis in my circle? Yes, Air is Isis, and I have her in the east. I will tell her hello. She Wolf Tarot is a tarot card reader. She's amazing. Have you ever worked with Loki or Freya? I don't actively work with Loki, but I know Loki's story. Freya I have worked with. Blessed be a part of your circle today. Blessed be. Thank you for being here, Charmed Pixie. I do not speak Spanish. Have a great day, Cher. I'm having some tech issues with the discount code. Okay, are you putting in Weave Gratitude, all caps? Thank you, She Wolf Tarot. Have an incredible day, Tanika. Thanks for being here. Hi, Casey. I'm sorry I don't speak Spanish. Thank you, Nita. I will have fun. I'm waiting for a comment back before I go from the person who's having issues with the discount code. So Weave Gratitude. Make sure you're spelling each word right, and all caps, and there's no spaces between the letters. All one word, yes. Well, does anyone have any questions before I go? Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for casting that beautiful circle with all of the deities. Feel their presence forward. I hope you guys all have a beautiful full moon. This is some big energy coming in, you guys. This is a full moon. You want to have, you know, be doing some work around some rituals, some ceremony. It's a potent time. I am doing good. All right, you guys. Well, I'm gonna head out if you guys don't have any more questions. I will be back next Sunday. I am here live every Sunday at 10. We'll see how my week is going. Sometimes I try to pop in during the week. But if you haven't followed me, go follow me. Check out all my courses. And yes, 50% off all the courses. And I'm going to say this because I'm leaving with the code WEAVEGRATITUDE, all caps, no spaces, on all my courses. The code works. Yay! Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Familia3, blessed be. And thank you, Marjorie, for hopping on here, and Jess, and anybody else that was helping mod today. Thank you for being here. I love spending part of my Sunday morning with you. Thank you, Max Joy, for being here. And She Wolf Tarot, I hope that I get to see you a little sooner in my live. You always come on at the end. I am going to go drink some water. If you haven't followed my daughter, she's Star Tarot, and she's doing tarot card readings. She's a really good tarot card reader, so go follow her if you haven't followed her yet. Also follow She Wolf Tarot, Marjorie, all of each other. We need to all follow each other so that we create this amazing community of witches. And so the algorithm is giving us, you know, showing us more of what we're all posting and things that we want to see more of. But I'm gonna go group 13. Yes, hashtag group 13. I should make a video about that, shouldn't I? I know that thing is getting bigger. Be group 13. I like 13. All right, so much love to you guys. Blessed be. I will see you next Sunday.